JP Cycles here with an update on April the 12th. So I'm having a look at some other markets. Once in a while I look at different markets other than the S&P, and so yeah, let's have a look at this is the Bitcoin, and I'm showing you the 3.5-year cycle in Bitcoin. You can see it is the red cycle here. And also I have divided the cycle in, a red part, a caution yellow part, and a bullish green part. And currently you see Bitcoin is within the bearish red part, and we should have topped out and be in some kind of a downtrend. I have drawn a bigger trend channel since 2013, and I think there's a great danger that we could break down from this long trend, and that could be very dangerous. And zooming in on the Bitcoin and comparing with the cycle, we see Bitcoin pretty much topped out where the cycle said so, and right now we are at the lower shoulder part. We could make some kind of a lower shoulder here the coming weeks, and then the next leg down. So I have not studied that much into Bitcoin, so I cannot say that much about it, other than I think it generally follows the same cycles as the S&P. Same goes for the German DAX. Again, I'm showing the 3.5-year cycle, and last time I made a video about DAX, we were somewhere in the beginning of this yellow caution zone in the 3.5-year cycle, and now we see the DAX has topped out, and we could make some kind of a shoulder in the coming weeks, and then I wouldn't trust these movements in the cycle. The cycle is just generally bearish, and you need some other cycle tools to identify the shorter term cycles. But the DAX is soon entering the bearish part of the cycle, and I would say that goes into around August 2026. That would be the bearish part. It could it could make a low earlier, like previous cycle. We made I would call that an early low. Yeah. So also looking bearish for the German DAX, and we have the Indian Nifty 50, and here, well, this market topped out very early. That's a bearish warning, and we are now at the 3.5-year cycle top. We are currently making some kind of a shoulder here. We have broken down below the 50-week average, so that's a warning. And yeah, the cycle is in general bearish into around September 2026. But you see, market can make a low earlier than that. Yeah, sometimes the market can make a low earlier than the ideal cycle low, sometimes not. And then we have the Norwegian market. This is a cycles composite of many cycles here in red, and yeah, this was the 7-year crash part of the cycle, but the Norwegian market didn't really crash much down in that period in 2022, and the Norwegian market has pretty much followed most of these smaller swings in the cycles composite. I was very curious about how the Norwegian market would react to this very bullish part, but no, it was rather choppy, and yeah, we trended up, but it was no easy uptrend. And currently we are in this topping part of the cycle, stretching into June, July, and the Norwegian market has already dropped down to to the lower part of this channel, and the cycle is, well, let's zoom out here a little bit. The cycle has kind of two lows here. The first one is around October, November this year, and then it's bullish into the winter and then bearish again into the fall of 2026. It's around, well, again around September. And when zooming in into the Norwegian market, this is a bigger cycle here in green, and this red one is the actual Norwegian market. And then we have a smaller cycle here, you see, and then another cycle at this point. And from this theoretical cycle, you know, I had some rough projections of what to expect, and it looks like, I would think, there is still some undone business here in this cycle. But then we start a new cycle, so some kind of a low in May, and then we have a bullish outlook, a new cycle starts. And I also drew this rough red projection. You know, I made a video around this low, and I said I don't think the Norwegian market is about to break down here. I think we will do something like this. And yeah, that was a pretty good guess. I didn't include this last squeeze or euphoric top here, but yeah, pretty much did as expected. And when zooming in further on the Norwegian market, we have here an ideal or a very common oscillation or cycle, or what you want to call it, for Norway. It's on average around 6 weeks. And so we have two bullish variants up here and a more bearish average here in red, and the green one is the actual Norwegian market. And you know, I think maybe we made a panic low here. In theory, we could make a kind of a double low here in around 5-6 trading days. But I am suspecting that this actually was an oscillation low or a cycle low, or what you want to call it. That means we have now entered a new one. We should be around this part somewhere. Currently in a 2-week oscillation, so we are approaching some kind of a top, then going down and then up again. And I think that will be what I also expect for the S&P. Some kind of a ABC move, and then we have to drop down and make a bigger bottom formation with a low around mid-May. So I think yeah, I think we are seeing a ABC bounce into end of April, and then we will drop down into mid-May and make some kind of a big bottom formation, maybe a double low or something. Yeah, so that's the outlook. You know, in general, bearish outlook for all markets for this year and most of next year possibly. But you know, it could be more complicated than that. I will come back to that for the S&P. But yeah, there are some you have to watch that for the S&P in a video later this weekend. But I think the bear market has begun. The next bigger bounce in the summer should make a shoulder, but it could potentially make a big double top. But then I think we are setting up for a bigger crash. Although it could also have bullish consequences. So yeah, it's always difficult to know exactly. But that's why I'm here for you. See you later.